Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya. Presents. These are my sweat confessions.
My name is Taonga Mhango, and I'm from Zambia. I'm a doctor, I can say, though I haven't yet started working. I'm waiting for employment, but I've done medicine. So, yeah.
So, Taonga, tell us a little bit about your sweat experiences. How was it growing up at home? Are you the only one with excessive sweating in your whole entire family? What were some of the challenges you faced from home to school? And school, for me, I'm old school. We started off with nursery school, primary, all the way to the highest, institutions of learning. But how was your experiences at home and in your school life?
When I realized I used to sweat, well, I think I was a teenager by then. And, my friends used to make fun of me. They would tell me, why are you sweating? Why are your hands so sweaty? Like, do you take so much water? And at first it was just like a joke. Oh, she takes so much water. You should stop drinking too much water and maybe you're going to stop sweating and all that kind of a thing. But then it didn't stop. And it kept going, primary school, like, I think grade 6, it started getting worse. And when I would talk to my dad about it, I would tell him, like, I'm the only one who's got the palms and the feet. But my brother has it on the head, like he sweats a lot in his head. Yeah, but at home, I'm the only one who sweats a lot. I'm the only one who sweats on my hands and feet. So people at home would tell me, like, you're just weird. We don't know what's on with you. And when I tell my dad, like, what's wrong with me, he would just tell me, no, carry a hanky wherever you're going. And he would tell me to use powder, like try to use powder, like put powder on your fingers, on your feet, but it never used to help. Yeah. So then boarding school was worse. But my friends, the people who were close to me, got used to me. Like, they just knew I had this sweating problem. But some people would touch your hand and they'll be like, ew, what's wrong with you? All those things. But then I also didn't have an explanation. Then they told me that the problem is it's an inherited problem. So maybe one of you sweats in the family, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so then I asked my dad, and my mom told me, like, no, maybe it must be from your dad because your dad does sweat a lot, not on the hands and feet, but like his whole body, he sweats a lot. Yeah, then after that, it started reducing a little bit. It's still there, but it reduced a bit compared to when I was in primary school. Yeah, then working in the hospital has been really hard, because you have to be the patient all the time. You really have to be on patients. And then some patients will be like, oh, your hands are so cold, especially during like winter. They'll be like, your hands are so cold. What's wrong with your hands? What did you touch? Did you touch water? Can you wipe your hands? All those things. But I think I've gotten used to live with it. And sometimes they try to explain and sometimes they just ignore the whole thing. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you faced as an adult with your excessive sweating, sweating arms and feet, and the experiences? How was it? How was your experience the first time you went to take your identification card? I know they have to capture your fingerprints. How was the process? And if you've ever traveled outside the country, the whole entire process, how was it for you?
It was terrible. It was really bad. It was really, really bad because, the time I remember when I was in Zambia, the time I first got my passport, it wasn't so bad in Zambia. But when I got to China, it was really bad. I don't know how many times I had to wipe my hands and they all thought I was nervous. They all kept telling me, you need to relax. I'm like, I have a problem. I'm not nervous or anything. What would I be nervous about? I'm not nervous. I've just got a sweating problem. Then like, no, you must be nervous. Just stop sweating already because you're wasting time. And the one who's taking my fingerprints really got angry. But I'm like, there's nothing I can do. So they brought so many tissues. Like I just had to keep wiping and wiping and wiping. And it was a very hot day. So, it was very, very hot. But in the end, we finally managed to get the fingerprints after a long, long process. But it was terrible.
In your, throughout your sweat experiences, did you ever consult a certified dermatologist for proper diagnosis and treatments?
Not really a dermatologist, but a Chinese, Chinese traditional medicine. Yes, because in China, they say Chinese traditional medicine is really good. So I went to see the doctor and he just checked my tongue, and I don't know, whatever he was talking about my tongue. I really didn't get the whole thing because of language barrier. Yeah. Then he gave me some medicine, like Chinese traditional medicine. I took it for some time, but it used to make my stomach run. So I stopped taking the whole thing after that. Yeah.
Ever come across people living with hyperhidrosis?
Just a few, maybe like one or two people.
And how would you
Really
describe hyperhidrosis in Zambia? Is there awareness? Is there a lack of awareness? Do Zambians treat excessive sweating as an issue? How would you describe, sweat in Zambia?
Okay, I think there's lack of awareness. So many people really don't know about hyperhidrosis. You only meet a few people. You really have to explain to them what's wrong with you for them to actually find out there's something like that exists. Most people won't even get it. They would think they're a weird person. Yeah. But really, I think it's just in our heads from how people treat us. So many people don't mind about the sweating. Really, so many people don't mind about the sweating. Once you tell them about, I've got a sweating problem, they'll be just like, oh, okay. But it's just in our head because you find it hard to do physical touch, all those things, because it's so much in our heads. Like if I touch this person, they're going to, feel somehow. And but people don't really know about it. There's really lack of awareness. Yeah.
The part where you talk of, it's in our heads, it's in our minds. I agree with you. It's true. And it's because, or rather, it's based on the experiences that we receive from other people. I mean,
Yes.
if you come across a certain percentage of people who are mean to you, saying mean things, lashing out insults, it sticks with you. Because again, you're surrounded by people who don't understand what you're going through. You tell them, I have a sweat issue.
Exactly.
In their minds, sweat is just a hygiene issue. It's not a problem. And there's a difference between sweat that is of hygiene issues and sweat which is as a result of a medical condition. Because if it's hygiene issues, it's easy to denote. Sorry. Just stay without showering for 1 week. I know people, there'll be total lack of peace in that environment, so it's easy to,
exactly,
we can cascade down to now, this is the sweat that is as a result of hygiene issues. This is bromhidrosis, this is hyperhidrosis, and all those other sweat related issues. What would you consider as your worst experience with excessive sweating? What are some of the worst and the meanest things people have ever said to you, and how did you overcome those insults that were being lashed to you?
I can't really say. Okay, the worst was just the time I was really getting my fingerprints. I think that was the worst experience ever. Apart from that, maybe in the hospital where someone tells you like, what's wrong with your hands? Don't touch me. Okay, I did experience that in China where someone said, don't touch me with your hands that can't stop dripping. Yeah, that I do. And to find a solution for me it was very hard. And that's why I really pray that there is a solution for this thing. But otherwise, really, I felt bad. And then the only thing I didn't really do anything. I couldn't do anything. I did feel bad, but I can't change this thing. So the only thing that I've done with myself is to accept this problem. I've accepted this problem. And for people who mostly, if you meet adults and you explain to them, I have this problem, most people don't mind about it. So I at this point, I don't have so much of a big problem with it, really. Yeah.
And currently, how have you been managing your sweat? What are some of your coping mechanisms?
Sorry?
What are some of your coping mechanisms? How do you manage your sweat on a daily basis?
Carry a hanky or a tissue everywhere. That's a must. I must carry a tissue or a hanky everywhere I'm going. And sometimes, when it's very hot, I carry a cold bottle of water. So someone tries to shake hands with me, they'll feel like maybe it's because my hands are sweaty from the water, from the cold bottle of water, but actually my hands are just sweaty because they're sweaty. And I do take a lot of water and I try to work out a little bit here and there. Yeah, but otherwise, apart from that, nothing much.
What would be your advice to people living with hyperhidrosis in Zambia? What would be your message to them?
Well, my message to them firstly is that they are not alone. Even if I haven't met so many people with hyperhidrosis, but then they are not alone. So they shouldn't feel like they are all by themselves. And we are going to overcome this thing. I'm sure there is somehow that we can get rid of this problem. So they shouldn't feel like they are by themselves. And yeah, nothing much.
And now that you're a doctor, in the field of medicine, what do you want to see happen in terms of treatments for excessive sweating and other sweat-related issues? What are some of the changes would you want to see?
What are some of the changes?
As a medical practitioner, you're yet to practice, but the moment, even before you do, because you're already a medical practitioner, what would you want to see in your country in terms of hyperhidrosis treatment? Because I believe at the moment, since due to lack of awareness, the areas or the places where people can go and get treatment, it's slim.
Exactly.
And there are challenges because even most doctors don't understand excessive sweating. So the problem comes from even the practitioner. If the practitioner doesn't understand, there is no way they're going to help the patient learn more about their sweat. So what would you want to see? What are some of the changes you want to see?
I think it really possible, like you guys have come up with a group or you've opened, some kind of group. I think I'd love to see that in Zambia. Because, I really searched for if there's something like a group of people with hyperhidrosis in Zambia, but there's really nothing. Meaning, really people lack knowledge about this whole thing. I think no one really has even thought about doing anything like that. So I don't know if it's because the number of people is scarce in Zambia. I don't really get it. Yes. So I'd really love to see that because if there's something like a group that's open, I think more people will open up and we'll all go to those people and try to find out, try to help each other. In short, we can, like you guys, the thing that you've done is very nice. People try to help each other. If there are people who can actually understand this thing, then it's even better. So someone can at least lead us in what next or what can be done to be helped?
You see, when Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya was initialized, what I did, I shared my story to encourage other people to do the same. For the first time on national TV, I didn't know that my story will introduce me to so many people living with excessive sweating. And 4 years later, I've witnessed and I've seen the change, and the numbers keeps on growing. If I did not initialize, I wouldn't be here talking to Taonga. Meaning that in Zambia, there are so many people living with hyperhidrosis, both primary, secondary, or other sweat-related issues. The issue and the problem is they don't know where to start. Where do I start? And they believe they are all alone, that they're the only people in Zambia struggling with.
Where do I start?
It's the same thing I believe with you, and even myself. Living with excessive sweating in a family of 4, where you're the only person with sweat issues, you believe that in the whole entire world, I'm the only person. Up until you come across someone who's similar, or even having it worse than you. That's how it hits you that this is a problem that needs to be addressed. And this is how we've been managing hyperhidrosis and all the cases related to excessive sweating, and trying to partner with different medical practitioners, talking to them, approaching hyperhidrosis treatment from a holistic perspective. So believe me when I tell you there are so many people in Zambia living with excessive sweating. Only if there is a sweat family, a Zambian sweat family, it only takes that one person to visualize. And trust me, you're going to get a lot of people reaching out, because most of them are embarrassed. You know, the same way you're sweating on your palms and feet, there is someone sweating in areas where they're too embarrassed to talk about.
Exactly.
And they cannot just talk it out with anyone. They need someone who truly understands the challenges. Someone who listen to understand and not listen to reply.
Tried. Sorry, can I ask if there's still time?
Yes, there is. You can go ahead.
Yes, so I have tried things like sweat block and sit and dry and all those things. But I think they just help you for that short time, and then after that, So I wanted to ask about, I've seen people using those pills on the internet. People in America would buy all these pills from the dermatologist. Like, what's your take on taking those pills? What do you think about them?
Oral medication for hyperhidrosis falls under anticholinogenic medication. And there are different categories. But now you focus on excessive sweating. You have oxybutynin and glycopyrrolate. Personally, oral medications are better if an individual is sweating in more than 3 areas of the body, and especially larger areas of the body. Because it doesn't make sense to me, you're sweating on your palms and feet, and you're being given oral medication, which it's not, it doesn't target that specific area that you want to control. The oral medication you take, it will control the whole body sweat, meaning that the areas which are unaffected becomes affected. So the first thing to put in mind is, am I sweating in more than 3 areas of the body? And why do I need the oral medication? The next step will be the certified dermatologist that you consult. They must conduct and run medical tests to ascertain that your sweat is either primary or secondary, just to rule out possibilities of any underlying causes. So the dermatologist will guide you, and they will start you off with a dosage, because again, they do have side effects. That's why it's important.
Yes, they do.
Test. So once the doctor is able to start you to initialize a certain, the first dosage, maybe a 2-week dosage, and then they'll keep following up to see how your body is responding to the treatment that is being given. So oral medications, yes, they do work, but you must approach it from that level, the medical level. I see a lot of people making that mistake of self-medication, medicating themselves. They go to their nearest pharmacy, buy, and they don't even know what they're doing. No, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Care of the side effects.
Very true. And when it comes to the topical treatments, the satin dries, the cape, the sweat blocks of the world, the thing is, every treatment for hyperhidrosis, whether it's topical or medical, the first thing you need to understand is your trigger. What triggers your sweat? Is your anxiety situational or clinical? If we are talking of situational anxiety, it's based on the situation. You have a job interview tomorrow. You know that if you're going to, if you're nervous about the interview you have tomorrow, you're going to sweat uncontrollably. What if you stop pressuring yourself about the interview? You see, the treatment itself, it's working, it's doing its purpose, serving its purpose. Also, you, as the individual taking the treatment, should also manage, because each and every person understands their trigger. So whether it's situational anxiety, I tell people, do not think about an interview. All the TV interviews I've ever done, I never sat down and rehearsed. Now tomorrow I'll be on TV. This is what I'm going to do. I start even coaching my voice. Tomorrow I'll be on TV. I need to do this. I just go there as myself. Because when you pressure yourself, when you start thinking about the things you're going to say, you will forget once you go live. So the same thing with interviews, social anxiety, being around people. If you find yourself being around people makes you anxious, you can separate yourself for some few minutes, be by yourself, and then reconnect with the people you are around with. There are those people who are always inquisitive, asking you, why are you sweating? Why are you this? Why are you that? You need to find a default answer that you can be giving them. That way, you separate yourself from them hurting you and preventing them from hurting you. When you have a default answer, why are you sweating? I was born that way. Only take time to explain to someone who wants to understand, even if it's like 10%, they just want to understand why you sweat. Why is it? I noticed you hide your palms. I noticed you do this. Now that's the person that you should take time to talk to and explain to them, this is how my sweat makes me feel. These are some of the challenges I go through. But those who are always just asking for the sake of asking, you don't need to waste time with them. So you need to approach the treatment from a holistic point of view. Manage your triggers, take your treatments, whether it's topical or medical. And topical treatments, they do work. I have individuals, the individuals who have used it, and the results are very subjective. The results, they vary from person to person. I have client A who has used topical treatments and they stayed dry for a whole day. You have client B who has used the whole day. The client was dry the whole day. And you have client B who for the first time was dry for 14 hours. So you see, topical treatments, they alter your sweating patterns. So you experience a change in your sweat patterns. Before, they used to sweat from morning to evening. But now when they're using topical treatments, there is a change in their sweating patterns. For the first time, imagine even if you've stayed for 5 hours without sweating, to me, that's progress. And it means that the more you continue with the treatment, the more you experience a change in your sweat patterns. And also trying other treatments such as antiphoresis machine treatment. Combining, you can combine even topical with antiphoresis. I've seen people who they were having it worse with their sweat, and right now they're different. You can't even tell that this is the same individual that I was trying to talk to a couple of months ago. So yeah, I think I've answered your question. If I haven't, you can let me know which area I didn't tackle well.
Okay, so the tropical treatment is available right now.
In Kenya, yes. Normally what we do as HAK, we ship them from the States, because in our country, you cannot find certain dry in your nearest pharmacy. The only available topical treatment in Kenya and in most places is Drycla. And the Drycla that people are using is not even the original Drycla, because the original company, I think they stopped manufacturing Drycla.
Yeah,
maybe people have
make their own.
The individuals who have the formula, so they make their own, and the active ingredient percentage is too high. That's why most clients complain that when they use the brand, it has this burning effect, itchy effect, because aluminum chloride is not supposed to be at 20%. How can it be 20% and you're applying twice a day? It doesn't make sense. The highest it should be 15%. You have certain dry that is 12%. Even zero sweat, they have their zero sweat with aloe vera that has 12% aluminum chloride. And when it's in liquid form, you're supposed to only apply at night only. Then in the morning, now you can use now a different one in the morning. For instance, people who sweat a lot in their underarms, the armpits, we have a regimen which is the PM and the AM. And it has been very successful. Very successful here in Kenya, where you use a PM version only 3 days a week, at night only, before going to bed. And then in the morning, you apply an antiperspirant deodorant that is in solid form. So it adds an extra layer of protection and freshness. Combining the two regimen has really improved people living with axillary sweating. And they have noticed a significant change in the sweat patterns. Then now you have individuals with craniofacial hyperhidrosis. We have brands that have really provide satisfactory results, such as Knit 3D Face Saver Gel. Again, you have women who have always wanted to wear makeup, but because of sweating in the face, that has always remained a dream. But for the first time, we have clients who have applied makeup and they were shocked. One of my clients stood and she looked at herself in the mirror and she couldn't believe. She thought this is a joke for the first time. You see, solutions are there.
That's nice.
Solutions are there.
Yeah,
people don't know how to go about the solutions.
Exactly.
And the moment an individual has this thing of I'm looking for a cure and permanent solution, you're going to miss that solution that is tailor-made.
I think that's my problem. So I don't know if it's even possible for someone to find something permanent. Well, but it is true. That's why we get to miss all those, because it's really not so bad. If someone can't wear makeup and they wear makeup for the first time, and if you can then stay dry for 5 hours, it's a really good thing. It's good.
And the client who applied makeup, the makeup stayed the whole day. Till evening when she went back home and removed her makeup before going to bed. And my client had excessive sweating of the face and scalp and the underarms. And for the first time, she was able to find a solution for the first time. She consulted a doctor who disheartened her, told her, there's no treatment, accept and move on. But when she consulted HAK and we talked, we chat, she sent me a DM on Instagram and we started communicating. I noticed the mistakes that the doctor made. So my job was to correct those mistakes by letting the client know. Ignore what the doctor told you. That was their opinion. We have solutions, but you must be ready and willing to give them a try. And if my client didn't take the advice that I gave, she wouldn't be applying makeup today. So you see, solutions are there. The only thing we need to do is guide people on how to go about those solutions. That if you're going to apply
Okay.
this topical treatment, do not expect it to cure your sweat. No, it's going to control and manage your sweat.
Yeah.
For the
To
first
control.
time, for the first time, you're going to experience a change in your sweat patterns. If you try this treatment, it's going to give you an extended period of effectiveness. So you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. You
Yeah.
have to follow instructions. And if people are doing it and it's working for them, then I believe if people living with hyperhidrosis will get rid of the permanent solution and cure, then you'll be able to appreciate treatments. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really been helpful.
And it's an honor
It's really been.
speaking to you.
Yes.
And all the best. I'm looking forward to talking and chatting with Dr. Taonga very soon. I know we're going to
No,
interact
thank you. Thank you. No, I will actually, when I'm ready, I will contact you about the tropical treatment. I've really been hesitant because, you know, all these doctors that, like I told you at first, like I used to contact a certain doctor that does Chinese traditional medicine. They use all these herbal things. I don't know. They say it works. So I've been talking to that same doctor, and it's just, you know, I'm not in China anymore. So it's kind of hard to ship those things to my country right now.
Okay.
But for now, I think I should just move to the tropical treatments.
Give them a try.
So I will contact you when I'm ready to buy.
Okay.
So you can actually advise me on what are the right things I can use.
Awesome. And thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And I look forward to visiting Zambia and bringing awareness in Zambia.
Sure, you're welcome.
I'm going to do that. Thank you very much.
All right.
Taonga, welcome to the Situationship. It's been an honor having you as our guest.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Much appreciation to our guest, and we hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe and share the link with family, friends and loved ones.